I want to take a moment to talk about fulfillment, about being fulfilled. I feel like so much of the time we focus on being happy. We focus on gladness, on joy, as opposed to focusing on sort of sadness and depression. We sort of look at these two polar opposites, and we spend so much time focusing on one or the other. How do you get more happiness, and how do you get less sadness or get out of sadness? And I just sort of feel like those two things are a little bit limiting. At least for me, I've noticed that focusing on happiness, or focusing on happiness as opposed to sadness, I ultimately end up feeling a little bit empty. And I sort of feel like there's a limit to happiness and to pursuing happiness, because it's so fleeting, it's so momentary. And I know that for myself at least, oftentimes if I achieve a sort of a happy moment, I don't always know everything that went into it. I don't always know all of the factors that contributed to this happiness. Sometimes it's just the stars aligning. Sometimes it's just you're at the right place at the right time. Someone says something nice to you. Maybe you had a good meal, you had a good sleep, whatever, and you're happy. And I sort of feel like there's a limit to that, because for me, at least, a lot of the time, I don't know how to recreate that. I don't know what to anchor that to. I don't know what to attribute that happiness to all of the time. And then there's sadness. At least for me, when I'm sad, I think about, how do I get out of this? You know, what has sort of contributed to the sadness? Was it that I was really happy, and now I just have to have the other half of that happiness, that I just need to be a little bit low, kind of bummed out for a little bit? Or are there other factors in play, you know? I know that for myself, when I feel depressed, I feel like I'm out of tune. I'm out of sync. Something's not quite lining up, you know? There's the me that's inside me, and it's not able to get out somehow. It's being sort of trapped. Again, whether that's caused by sort of what my day-to-day life sort of looks like, you know, sort of work or family life or whatever, whether that's, again, sort of diet, sleep, etc., sunlight, or whether there's something else. And I sort of wonder about that, because I know that for myself, oftentimes when I feel depressed, there is something that I can do to change the situation. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be depressed. But to be kind of locked there, or to kind of lock yourself in that place, that seems like it's possibly avoidable. So that kind of leads me to talk about fulfillment. Again, I know that for myself, there is the thing that I am, the person that I am. There's my soul, my being, who I am, Paul. Maybe not my name, but it's who I am. And when I can unlock that, and I can get that out, I notice that there's a little bit of a resonant frequency that I sort of am able to hit. When I'm able to do things that feel like me, feel like they are representative of me, whether that's just me on my own, you know, sitting and thinking, or whether that's, I know that for me, sort of playing music, or working on things. I love working on projects that really resonate with me. Those are things that I find fulfilling. Talking with people, communicating with people, collaborating with people, hearing other people's ideas. I know that when I'm in a conversation that's stimulating to me, I find that to be fulfilling. And for me, I noticed that when I think about fulfillment as opposed to happiness, for me, fulfillment is something that I can anchor myself to, because it's locked into who I am. It's fulfillment for me. It's not what fulfills someone else, it's what fulfills me. And when I focus on who I am and what makes me who I am, the happiness that I find is a happiness of serenity. It's a happiness of peace. It feels more like breathing and less like elation. Yeah, I mean, it's something that's more permanent than this fleeting happiness. Something my dad always talked about growing up was life-giving activities. He talked about spend your time doing things that give you life rather than things that take away your life. You know, if the activities that you're a part of are life-giving activities, they will continue to nourish you. They'll continue to give you life, to give you energy, to give you hope, as opposed to activities that drain your life. You know, activities that deplete you of energy, hope. You know, I know that again for me, something that I think about is, am I pursuing a goal, like an ultimate goal? Is that the point of the activity? Or is the point of the activity the day-to-day, sort of what's in front of me? What am I doing? And for me, it's all about what I'm doing. It's not about the product. It's about the process. And is the process life-giving? Is the process fulfilling? And if it's not, change the process. Change the way that you're doing that thing, because that's your life. Your life is this moment. It's not going to be sort of the product or the end goal or whatever you're going to achieve at the end. That's sort of a marker. That's a guiding post. But what you're actually doing, that's the activity. The other thing that I think about when I think about fulfillment is I think about purpose. You know, what is my purpose? All of us, what are our purposes? I don't know. I mean, maybe we don't have maybe there's no purpose. Okay, maybe there's no purpose. But if there is a purpose, I mean, I believe there's a purpose, and I believe that that I specifically have a purpose here on earth. And I think that, again, tying back to fulfillment, my fulfillment is derived from finding and spending my time focusing on activities that align and resonate with my purpose, resonate with the reason that I'm here, or the reason that I believe that I'm here. So if my purpose is to, build roads, build as many roads as possible, then my life-giving activities would be working on building roads. And if I spend my time working on, building buildings, then that's not in sync with my purpose or my reason for being here. So I think about purpose. I think about what's my purpose here in the world, and when do I feel most alive, or what ideas excite me the most. And it doesn't have to be like a specific idea. I know that for me, again, unplugging myself from specific ideas, like, like making a particular thing or making a thing in a certain way. I think more in terms of, well, what are the ingredients that are involved in making that thing? Is it collaborating with people? Is it being creative? Is it joking around? There's sort of because those things, the idea of collaboration, being with people, joking around, those can happen anywhere. You can kind of mix and match and find a whole multitude of opportunities in the world where you can achieve your purpose, where you can do something fulfilling, and maybe it's not necessarily the thing that you're doing right now. So I find that for myself, focusing on fulfillment can be helpful, because it means that I'm listening to myself and who I am and sort of my being in a way. I don't know if this is helpful at all. If it is, great. If not, I'm sorry. Yeah, good talk.